from this computer. Is everybody just, plugs in? Shannon, hey, hello, Sheila. How are you? Nice to see you. Pretty,
you too.
Nice, pretty pink. All right. Sheila's looking very spring-like. I like it.
Get it here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it here.
Today was very spring-like.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nice. And daylight savings this weekend.
Daylight
savings this weekend. I am one of those people that is a huge proponent of doing away with daylight savings because I think it's ridiculous. Because we are not an agrarian society, but I do like it when it's lighter at night. So no complaints. Hi, Shannon. How are you? Welcome.
I just emailed you that I didn't get the link, but I did get the link.
Okay.
Obviously, because I'm here.
I'm ignoring you.
This time it was from South Shore Women's Network, not you, but it went to my junk. So I found it.
It's such a, so one of the things that we did, Shannon, to get around that is I created an email for the SSWBN so that it could come from that, because what people were saying was they would search it by that in their junk or even in their deleted. So we're hoping to get around that. And it is interesting to me that I might get one piece of mail from whatever organization it is, and then another something goes into my junk mail. And it seems that there's no rhyme or reason for that. And that is, I would love someone to explain why that is to me, because I have no idea. So it's a little after 7, so we'll give people a few more minutes. And
Can I ask a question about the email thing? Because my email, my Gmail now has 3 buckets, like the primary bucket, the social bucket, and the promotional bucket. And stuff that I want in the first bucket gets put into the other, because I don't look in the other buckets.
Yeah.
And how do
you can go to all
is there any way
mail
to change it so that it goes to the right bucket?
Yes, you can change. You just change your Gmail settings so that there are no buckets. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Or you can just hit all mail instead of, and then it will give you everything. It'll put it all in there. Okay. So you just go down a little further and you hit more, and then below it says all mail.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if you don't know that Gmail does that, it can get rid of some things and hide them from you. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I never responded to this. And it's sitting out there in this bucket for a week and I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, when they first did it, I was like, people were saying, well, no, I didn't get that email.
Well, I also changed Gmail on the settings. You can change Gmail so that your conversations aren't stacked one on top of another in one big, long, awful.
Please tell me how you do that, because that's my biggest conundrum.
It's under additional settings or something. It's go up to settings on the right-hand side and then go into, I don't know, when you click on that, there'll be like, see more settings or something, and go into that one. And that's the one where you set like up your signature and things like that. Go down through there, and there's something that is clicked on that you want to click off, and it's something about conversations.
Like stacking them, because it stacks them. And especially on your phone, nothing. I could find nothing in a Gmail. Okay.
Right. And I'm always sending out, a Gmail to like 10 people and asking for their opinion on something. And I would get this like email where everyone's responding back to me with my email. And it's like, I don't even know where to begin to untangle this. And now I just get 10 emails, and that's much easier for me to say, yep, I've heard from everyone. Good, great. I can go forward.
Yeah, wow. I see it.
So while we're on Gmail tips, though, here's a really hot tip for you. Did you know that you can go down there on settings, and under stars, you can choose to have like a gold star, for instance. So all of your emails will appear with a blank, empty star next to them, right, all the way down. And then if you click it once, it's you've starred it. You've put a star there, a yellow star there.
Yeah.
However, there are more settings for stars. You don't just have to be limited to the yellow star. You can now go in and the same, additional settings. You can choose up to 7 or 8 different, stars, check marks, little flamey things that mean this is on fire, it's urgent or whatever. Then you can mark all of your email. And that's how I've been communicating with my client, is that I go into her Gmail to groom it every morning and every afternoon. And she's got a purple star on something, and that means I should register her for that. And it's fantastic. It saves us a lot of time. Wow. And I have the key to all of the stars, and yeah, it's good. And once I finish something, I, click it again a few times and it's a little check mark and boom, we're done, so.
Wow, Lynn, that's super helpful. I
Yes.
didn't know that. And that, I think Gmail is so great because you can get it anywhere, but the stacking makes me
Oh,
literally
it was
insane.
driving me crazy.
So,
So, yeah.
so thank you for that. Wow. Okay. I've learned so much already tonight. So, so on that note, thank you, Lynn, for that educational moment.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, welcome everyone. Those of you who don't know me, everybody who knows who I am. I'm Lisa Dooley. I am the new president of the network. I am so excited to have Aileen here tonight because so many people that I talk to really always want to know, am I doing things the right way? Alana's jumping on with us. Hi, Alana, nice to see you. We're just going around and doing and I'm just started. So you missed some great email tips on Gmail. So if you're not a Gmail user, talk to Lynn because she is, and she gave us some great tips. But I was just welcoming everyone to the event. Again, I think bookkeeping is so important because I know when I started my business, I knew how to do what I did, right? I knew how to be an organizer. What I didn't know and what I was so unsure of was how to manage my business, and bookkeeping was huge for me. And I was lucky that I had a mentor. I had someone who helped me, but a lot of people don't have that. And I think that starting out fresh, or getting that primer or that good reminder on bookkeeping basics is so important. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Again, for those of us who are, I think everybody on here is a member. I welcome you to take part and to let us know as a board what the kind of things that you want to hear. And this was absolutely one of the things that people were asking for. So we're so excited to do that. As you all know, the network has gone through, like every organization, a bit of a pivot, the word of 2020 pivot, to be virtual. We continue to coach, to collaborate, to connect with each other and to be part of the community. And we obviously welcome your feedback and how we can continue to do that and do that even better. We do have some other upcoming great events. At the end of the month, we are going to have our quarterly breakfast with Dr. Bonnie. Dr. Bonnie is going to give us some great ideas on how to stay balanced mentally. I was having a conversation with my grown son tonight, and he said, Mom, like, this is even worse. He's an adult. He said, this is even worse. He said, because we can see the finish line, right? We can see. And he said, sometimes it's almost harder than it was just a few months ago. And so I think a lot of us have this COVID fatigue. We're tired of this, right? We can see the end. And I think what Dr. Bonnie is going to help us do is to continue to stay ahead of that curve in terms of our mental wellness, and how obviously that fits into being great and successful business owners and entrepreneurs. So we're gonna, before I turn it over to Aileen, I thought maybe we could just go do a quick introduction. I am seeing you all on my Brady Bunch screen. So I'm just gonna call out everyone's name, but before that, I will go ahead and start. And before I forget, also, we have some other great upcoming events in April. We're going to do a lunch and learn to follow up with Dr. Bonnie's mental awareness, and someone who's going to talk to us about how to take care of ourselves physically. So someone's going to talk to us about like deep breathing and like little mini workouts that we can do, which is going to be really fun. And then again, we're going to do a focus chat. And our own Katie Starr is going to be part of our real estate group, because real estate being such a hot topic in the coming months. So we're excited to do that as well. So again, the SSWBN community, we're going to coach each other, we're going to connect, and we're going to collaborate. Thank you. Because I always say that too fast. So again, for those of you who know who I am, Lisa Dooley, as a professional organizer, I help my clients through transitions. I help them lead their best lives by letting go of all those things that are holding them back and holding them down. Sometimes it's physical, emotional, psychological. Sometimes I can't get my taxes ready because I can't find my paperwork. Sometimes it's I've lived in my house for 30 years and I want to move on and I don't know the very first step to do that. So I work with a lot of professionals, real estate professionals, mortgage professionals, estate planners, working to help clients through those transitions. So if you know someone who might be in need of working with me, and it doesn't have to be someone who's the downsizer, it could be someone who's moved into a new home, someone who has a family or is running a business and is trying to put their arms around how to pull all of that together, that would be a great referral for me. So I'm going to pass it to my left to Katie Starr, who's calling us from her car. Katie, thank you for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm in the car and driving. I don't even know if you guys can see me. Can you even see me?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There
There you are.
I have a closing tomorrow morning, so I was just coming from the final walkthrough, which, we do at night usually. So, but I'm glad I'm able to catch this during my ride here. So I am a real estate agent with Jack Conway Real Estate, based out of the Plymouth office. But interestingly enough, I work all over the place. This home, this condo that I'm selling is in Easton tomorrow. So it's a good reminder that I can work outside of my general area and can help people just about everywhere. But as Lisa had mentioned, I'm really glad that we're doing the kind of roundtable in a couple of weeks, or I think it's in May, on real estate, because I think a lot of people are very interested in what's going on in the market, even if they're not interested in being in the market. There's so much, if you know anybody that is in the market, you just know that there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot to know, and I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that in detail when we have that roundtable. But I'll pass it on right now and just thank you for having this event. Actually, I'm really glad you're recording it because obviously I can't take any notes. But I'm excited to learn. No, I won't even try. But I'm excited to learn some more, bookkeeping ideas and hopefully tips and tricks and things like that. And hope to see everybody in person, hopefully very soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And I think it is interesting that you say, just to jump on that point about even if you're not actively buying or selling your home, real estate is the #1 mover in our economy right now, right? There are $4 trillion in people's savings accounts. One of the biggest things people are doing are buying and selling homes. That's really the biggest driver. So that impacts someone like Allison in building and it impacts me. It impacts Laura in financial services, obviously, Alana, it impacts all of what we do. So so we're excited to bring that and talk more about that. So on that note, I'm going to turn it. Oh, the other thing I'm going to ask everyone to do, except Katie Starr, I will add Katie Starr in the notes. Please add your contact information into the chat. I wrote a note to myself to save the chat. I'm going to share it and I'm going to send it out. Katie, do not do that. I will do that for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison. Allison, good evening.
I'm Allison Gaido from Almar Building and Remodeling. We do residential remodeling here on the South Shore, everything from windows and doors through kitchens, baths, new houses, additions. Additions are really popular right now. Money is cheap and housing is scarce, and people have been in the house for a year. We're doing a lot of home offices, kitchen expansions, those kind of things. Probably we have more projects in design and development now than we ever have, where we're working with, we typically have 1 or 2 at a time. I think we have 7 right now signed design agreements. So that's great. But one of the things that everybody should be kind of aware of is we're still dealing with challenges to the supply chain and pricing. The price of lumber is more than 50% higher than it was this time last year. So if you were thinking last year, looking at a bathroom project, you should expect, or an addition or something, you should expect that whatever budget you got last year is probably 50%, about 50% more than it was, which is challenging because people don't understand. But I think my team's been doing a really good job of kind of explaining and giving people some resources and kind of talking about where they think the market is going. So, and the long and the short of it is the prices aren't going to go down. That's what we're hearing. So this is kind of the new normal. So that's what I have to say. So, but we're talking to a lot of people and we're set up well to talk to people. So we're hearing a lot of people aren't getting back to this. It's taking us longer. We usually try to have a 24-hour time period turnaround, but now it's a couple of days before we get back to people sometimes. So we're trying to be clear and concise about those expectations as well. So that's me.
Well, I think it's interesting, Allison, is that it is goods coming into the country. You know, stuff is literally sitting on barges outside of the ports because they can't get it offloaded because of restrictions. And so that's steel, right? You can't get it in from Canada. You can't get consumer goods in from China and all the other places. So, so we're going to be very patient with you, and we thank you for what you're doing, because all those people that now need home offices, right? All those people that are not going to work from home for at least, you know, in some sort of hybrid, the other word of 2020, some sort of hybrid situation. It's going to be it is not going away. It's not going away. So
coupled with all of the stuff coming into the country is there are a lot of plants in Texas and those areas that have been shut down because of the weather and the oil refineries. So like getting drywall out of Texas has been impossible. So yeah, there's just all sorts of like crazy things and then some people are like super understanding and some people are like, I don't understand why there are now only 12 choices of roofing colors. Well, COVID, I can't control the pandemic.
Yes, you can, Allison, because you're amazing.
How many times I've had to tell people, I can't control a worldwide pandemic. I'm sorry.
Your sons would challenge that statement. My mom can control anything. I know you, Allison, right? All right, thank you. Thank you for that update. And I think that is an important part of the whole conversation. Laura Bradeen, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Laura Bradeen. I am a independent agent for Primerica Financial Services. We do a lot of different products, all financial based. We like to bring everything into the picture, have you all not have your bits and pieces scattered, but bring it all into one. We can do a financial needs analysis that incorporates all that stuff that might be, you know, you have your different banks, you have your different credit cards, you have your mortgage, you have other loans. We want to bring it all together and have one picture for you, figure out where you're at and how to get you where you want to go. And so right now I'm doing a lot of, in my client base, I'm doing a lot of rollovers for retirement accounts that folks left at a previous employer and now we're rolling them over. And in my coaching hat, I'm doing lots of teaching and reviews, some in person, some by Zoom. And it's great. But one of my pit is that I need to control the schedule because I'm greatly in demand, and I've just some days I've just scheduled too much and I'm doing too much. So but it's good, and I'm figuring it out, and I like the extra money, so so it's good. And but definitely if you know anybody that that they left a job and they're pivoting or whatever they're doing and they need to roll over a retirement account, or you know, some people did wind up with extra money, and what do you want to do with that money? Maybe you want to open a college fund, or you know, start saving for your own home, your down payment for your home. There are different ways to do that. Roth IRAs are a pretty good idea. So anybody in that kind of situation would be a good client for me. Good referral.
Thank you, Laura. And I think it is important. People think financial advisor, financial planning is for people with a lot of money. And the reality is it's, you know, it is for everyone.
It
really is. It really is for everyone. And I think that's the biggest mistake or the misconception, miseducation in the market is financial planning is for people with a lot of funds. And the reality is yes, and we all could use, like we're going to learn tonight with Aileen and talking about bookkeeping in our business, bookkeeping in our own lives is just as important, right? It's just as important. So thank you for that reminder. Lynn Feingold, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Well, I have quite a story to tell. I had 30 years of executive administrative support work behind me, and then ditched the corporate life and went solo. And I've been having a blast for the past 5 weeks. It has been the busiest 5 weeks of my life, I think, but it's been a lot of fun. And I've launched on Facebook now. I've launched on LinkedIn. You know, Facebook, I very quickly acquired, you know, 200 or 230 people following me. LinkedIn was a big splash. Within 24 hours, I had 700 people see my post. And now I'm getting cold calls from people, and it's really taken off. Last week, I talked to 8 clients and booked 3 of them. So yeah, so my SCORE mentor is thrilled with this whole thing, and it's been really a lot of fun. And I'm really doing very diverse things. So it's a long, like, laundry list of what I can cover. And what I like to do is talk to people and find out what do they need. So my best client is going to be a very busy person who has a business that is so successful that they're drowning in their own success. And they need help with the menial administrative tasks. They just need someone to come in and help them sort things out and get stable again so that they can then, take off and go sell and have fun. So that's my goal here. And I'll tell you, my time is booking up, and I'm really busy every day, which is fabulous, and having a lot of fun with it. So thank you. I'll put my information in the chat.
Thank you, Lynn. That's excellent. There was a great quote. I forget what book I read it in. It said something like the last thing you should, or it is a bad habit to check your email first thing in the day, because your inbox is somebody else's crisis. Your inbox, Allison, right? All your clients are trying to reach your inbox is someone else's crisis, somebody wanting you to do something for them. And I think we talked about Gmail earlier, and I think someone who can just filter through the email and really filter through what is important, what do I need to do, versus going down some sort of rabbit hole of, the rabbit hole. So yeah, so that's awesome, Lynn. Thank you for sharing that. Sheila Barber, good evening. You're on mute.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Give me a second. Hi. Yes, Sheila Barber, and my husband and I are the 2-person office team on the South Shore, out of Weymouth, Massachusetts, serving all of Massachusetts, and busy as all heck now. Talk about real estate. Yep, we're in it. So yeah, it's good. We have a lot of home inspection services. We I think we were just talking about earlier, like being like sensitive, or I don't know, or maybe I'm in another area of my day, but just like maybe it was the collaborating or something like that. But it's just, that's what we do. We're there for our clients, and listen, and like you're saying, like, oh yeah, here's the crisis or the problem, or you know what I mean? It sounds huge, and it sounds like they'll never get through it on their end, you know what I mean? But it's just like, here you go, we'll take your hand and you're good. And they're like, what? It's like, oh my God, I don't want to be in their shoes. I'd rather be in mine.
But I think that's the relationship you're building, right, Sheila? We don't want it to be a transaction. We never want our relations with our clients to be transactional. And even if you don't book this client, you don't know how that's going to come back to you. And so and again, being in a hot market space like you are right now with this market. And I know I leaned on John, asked John some great questions when I was looking myself. And so what are some of the things that you are seeing right now? We'll talk a little bit more, but how else would you want us to represent you in the marketplace? Do you work with both sellers and buyers?
Anyone who's
Okay.
needing some sort of home inspection service. We do read on wood destroying insect, veterans. If they have veterans looking for a home, and the loan requires that they have that inspection, we've got that covered. Anything, just if they want to do like pre-sale before they're putting their home on the market, that really is a good thing. But I guess now maybe Katie could say, or Alana more so, but I heard from Cindy. She and I did maybe many of you saw it. I shared it. We did a little live video, and we were talking about trends in real estate, and they're saying now to forego your home inspection. And it's like, okay, if you're going to forego your home inspection when you get in your house, because everything's so tight and so quick, and the offers and everything's just out of hand right now. But when you get in your house, don't forget the home inspection. You're going to want to get in and find out what's going on, because you've got so much history in there, so that's pretty Any friends, anyone you know, say, hey, I want to get this check, that check on a house. We got it.
That's great. Someone, a real estate connection of mine told me she had a buyer come to the open house with their inspector, cash in hand and their inspector. That feels like a lot, but I guess in this hot market, that might be something we're going to see. So thank you, Sheila. Sheila and I are also doing an event next month, and we'll talk about that. Maybe next time we'll share the flyer with everyone.
With
on
Cindy,
that.
yep, the three
Yeah,
of
with
us.
Cindy. Yeah, it's going to be good. Alana, good evening. Nice to see you.
Hi, thanks. I'm Alana Thompson. I'm a real estate agent. I'm based out of Lakeville, but I cover, all of southeastern Massachusetts or even further if I need to. And I've just really been trying to, if the word's not out already, I've been trying to get the word out that now is the time to sell if you were thinking about it. If you want to downsize especially, now is definitely the time to sell. And I can refer people to movers and home inspectors and all kinds of people that can help you if it seems overwhelming. I'm here to kind of talk you through it and calm you down and make the process, go smoothly. And it can be done. Downsizing, it's definitely now is the time to do it.
Yeah, I have clients that want to do that, Alana, and they just don't even know how to start. So
Right.
It's good to know that there are professionals like there. Again, it's what Sheila calls, we're holding hands, right? There's a lot of hand holding with our clients in a good way, right? Because we're empowering them to move on. So thank you for sharing that. And I saw your twins on Facebook. So cute. Yeah. And that too. She's the cutest twins. Shannon, nice to see you. How are you? You're on mute. There you go.
Great. Hi. Yeah, so I have Small Biz Doctors, and we are digital marketing, and we do all of financial planning for small businesses too, but mostly it's digital marketing. And yeah, and I could actually just say exactly what Allison's saying. A lot of my clients, I'd probably say 80% of my clients are in home improvement, and yeah, it's just going off the roof. But then they're getting leads, and then they're just like, I can't handle it all, this stuff coming in. And the same thing that Allison's saying, that it's really hard to get the materials, and that the prices have gone up. So I'm finding that mirrored exactly in my business as well. So yeah, if anybody needs, basically I can build the websites from scratch, or we can improve them. Because mostly how you're going to get ranked is by your content or your backlinks. So we can give hints on, and SEO on page, SEO work that we can do too. But mostly it ends up coming down to the content you put on your page and the backlinks that you use. So, a lot of people have a website, but then they're like, I don't know, nobody comes. So that's the kind of thing that we can do. Or I just build side websites for people that generate leads for them as well. So we do both of that. And I have been, as I've talked to Lynn about, I was bogged down completely with just because I'd hired a bunch of people and trying to get it all organized. All I was doing was managing. So I got ClickUp up and going. That's what I decided to use as a project management. It's up and going, we're using it, but I'm still like, okay, now we have it, but I'm actually thinking now this week, I'm like, I still need an administrative assistant to run ClickUp and manage all that's going on, because it didn't take away all. It definitely took some hours off my time by going to the project management, but not completely. So I need to hire another person, both to do the work and for like an administrative assistant. So we may be talking soon, Lynn, you were on my list. So, and I am going to apologize. I probably have to leave in about 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm glad this is being recorded, because although my background is in finance, I'm really not much of a bookkeeper. So I really would love to learn that. So if I do leave, it's because I just have to take another call, but I will be watching the recording to see what you said, what's going on.
Thank you, Shannon. And
Thanks.
I think the part what you said about building a website, it's like we think build it and they will come, right?
Right.
Come, right? And it just sits there, and you click on a website and you're like, holy sweet heavens, when was the last time this thing was updated? And you're right, it's not just about, it's blogging and it's the backlinks and it's all of those things, and it's tagging the pictures, all of the things that I learned from Shannon. So if you need someone to explain it to you in a way that you can actually understand from a non-techie standpoint, Shannon is the person you should talk to, because she's amazing. So yes, we're going to record this for anyone, for Katie in the car, and for Shannon who has to hop off to another call. I'm going to turn it over to Eileen. She's going to do a screen share with us as well and sort of walk us through it. And we're very excited. So Eileen Borders, welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, I hope everybody's comfortable. I shouldn't take too long. This is boring stuff, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna do my best here. So just hold on here for a second. Get myself organized. All right. Can everybody see my PowerPoint? Okay. And hopefully that's all you can see, because I have notes up. All right. So again, hi everybody. I'm Aileen Borders, and I own a company called On Time Bookkeeping. And as Lisa said today, I'm here to share some tips and advice for all of you small business owners about your finances. I'm going to talk about two main topics. First, how to choose a bookkeeping system in case you don't have one or you're not sure if the one you have is right for you. And second, a few common bookkeeping mistakes and actually misconceptions that many small businesses do make in their day-to-day world. So first up, whether you've been in business for a few years or just starting out, you're going to want a way to easily consolidate all of your financial activity in one place. One way to start thinking about what might work for you is to sit down and write out all of the different activities you do for your business that involve money, which is usually a lot more than you think. This should include everything in your revenue pipeline, from invoicing your customers to collecting payments and getting that into the bank, paying bills for supplies to buying and managing inventory. Maybe you're a business that tracks the financial success of jobs or projects or specific functions like some contractors do. You may have staff, or you might just want to know how to pay yourself, and also not to forget how to file taxes for payroll, sales tax, or any other taxing authorities for your industry or your location. And someday you might want to grow to a point where you want to gather data in your operations and analyze it to further grow the success of your different business lines. So all these different things should actually be taken into account when you think about what kind of solution you need today and what you might need tomorrow. So now that you have a list of all those functions of your business, probably more than you thought, there are so many options out there, and most people just say, give me the cheapest solution. I don't need anything fancy. But every business is different. As a solopreneur, you may be able to get away with the spreadsheet at first, and that's fine, tracking your income and expenses. And there are some really great Excel templates out there in the world, but will it compare everything to what the bank says? Will it give you a balance sheet? What if you need a loan and the bank asks for financial statements? Is that spreadsheet going to be enough? This is where a formal system comes into play, because they take all the bits and pieces and put them together into fancy reports just for you. It knows how to do that. From a budget standpoint, which a lot of people do want to consider, of course, when you're first starting out, you have everything from Wave, which is essentially free, to the very popular QuickBooks, and all the way to the large industry-specific management systems. All online systems have what are called integrations, and you can add on to make your life easier. They're like ways to automate certain processes. Some will cost a fee to connect, others are free. These are things like connecting your bank account to pull your transactions in, inventory control systems to track your sales, payroll processors, bill payment, and timekeeping systems, to name a couple others. With the exception of Excel, Microsoft Excel, all of the systems I show here allow you to invoice your customers and collect payments directly for a small fee from their respective merchant services. And that is pretty much a given. If you collect payments electronically, prepare to pay for that privilege. Okay. So moving on to some common mistakes. And actually it's a combination of mistakes and misconceptions here that I'm going to talk about. So if you've suffered from any of these, don't worry. You're not alone, and they are all very easily fixed. So first up is to not mix and mingle your money. It's really important to keep your business and your personal funds separate. Why is that? So obviously, so you can more easily track how your business is doing without all the noise of personal expenses like trips to the grocery store or paying the dog walker, kids things, all that stuff. But on a more serious note, if any legal action were ever taken against your business, your personal funds could be reviewed and impacted if they're combined. So you want to protect yourself. You might be concerned with how to do this if you're a small business and you don't have a lot of activity. First step is really just to open a small account with your existing bank, like a secondary account. It makes transfers a lot easier. Most banks allow up to 6 transfers between accounts each month, which is 1 or 2 a week, which is really pretty sufficient for most people. You're not going to be making transfers every day. Also, if you have 2 credit cards in your wallet, just limit one of those to your business use for now until you build up some credit and can get your own business card. Yes, it may be in your name, but as a sole proprietor or an LLC, you're kind of responsible for that anyway. So that's really okay. Now, a professional organizer out there might not want me saying this, but it's okay to hoard your receipts as long as it's virtual, okay? So obviously we don't want paper lying around, but keeping your receipts is important for record keeping purposes to justify your expense in the rare event that your finances are audited or reviewed. Think of it like insurance. It's good to have just in case. But we're always trying to keep it simple, so snap a pic with your phone and use an app to load it into your Wave or your QuickBooks. Of course, there's an app for that. There's an app for everything. And then everything is all together in that system. In terms of deposits, if you do accept checks, it is also best practice to make a copy of the check with your deposit slip. In addition to recording it in your accounting software appropriately, the image also provides proof of payment, and the dated deposit slip shows when it went into the bank. I'm actually working with a client right now who did no such thing. And of course, 2 years later, they have no idea which customer payments went into the bank on different dates. But I know that you all won't wait 2 years to get your books cleaned up. Will you? So this is also another oddball thing to say, but money is not all the same. Kind of think about this. A common thought among many small business owners is that if I have money in the bank, I'm okay, which is a good start, but it's not always the best indicator of success or failure. There are many activities that are cash-based but don't immediately impact your profit. These may impact your operations, however. For example, taking out a loan is not income at all. It's money in your bank, but it can be used to purchase inventory or buy a new piece of equipment, neither of which are actually direct expenses at that very moment. You may also collect payments from customers who paid on account, on their credit card or on account, and that revenue may already be recorded in a previous period. So there's timing differences in a lot of these things. On the flip side, sales on credit, as I said before, won't get you more cash in the bank right away, but it will improve your profit. Just like paying for items you purchased on your company credit card. There are also non-cash transactions that impact overall net income, such as depreciation of the assets you just purchased with that loan. So what does that mean exactly? Let's say you bought a car for your business to travel to your client's location. That car cost a pretty penny, but you saved up and you pay cash for it. That cost won't be recorded all at once on your income statement. It will be spread out over the life of the car, which let's say is 5 years. So instead of recording a one-time $40,000 expense, you probably will only record $8,000 over the next 5 years. But the only cash impact is in year 1. Oops. So I just got really nerdy and accounting right there. But something else that I'm also a little passionate about is just because you have a system like QuickBooks doesn't mean you know everything, how to use it, or have the time to do it all yourself. I can't tell you how many times I hear people not accept my services just because I have QuickBooks, I'm good. Which is fine, in many cases that's fine, and I don't want to sound, negative about that. But there are so many tools within these systems that people take months or years to figure out. Again, which not to say that you can't. We're all brave, strong, powerful women here. We can use the training videos and blogs to teach us things and spend Friday nights doing our finances because we have that kind of time, right? We all want to do that. I mean, I have a basement full of power tools, but I'm no master carpenter. I know the basics of things around my house, and they're fine. But I would bet that if someone from Allison's team came over and saw it, let's be real, they'd smile, bite their tongue, and say, "Nice job." And truth be told, I don't really want to take the time to learn how to use my power saw because it quite frankly scares me. So here's my plug. Call your local bookkeeper or accountant and don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to hire them, just ask for help. You know how to do something, you're not quite sure. It will keep you successful and allow you to focus on growing or even just maintaining your business if you've already grown to where you want to be. If nothing else, it's another sense of insurance that you're doing things the right way. So that's me. That's really, I'm sorry, I didn't really take very much time, but this is my information. If anybody would like to contact me and let me know if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out. That's kind of where I am. So thank you again. I'm Aileen with On Time Bookkeeping.
Aileen, that was excellent. I have like 5 things written down, but before I start with answering all of my questions. So first of all, I just want to touch on the point that you made about the power of QuickBooks, right? It's the reality is I use QuickBooks. I'm probably using 10% of the power of that. It's like Office 365. If you're using it for email, you're using probably 2% of what Office 365 can do for you. And so I think that alone is as you said, I love the analogy of the power tools, right? Allison, I can see the guys going in Eileen's basement going, yes, a circular saw, yes, right? But it is that, and it's like the tools in the right hands are so powerful. For the rest of us, it's the bare minimum. So before I definitely have some things I'd like to ask you about, and thank you again for sharing that. Anybody who has a question they would like to, they may have a question they'd like to ask Aileen. All right, well, I'm going to start then. So question for you, QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop? Because I'm a desktop user. Is there a some sort of benefit to using one over the other?
So obviously being virtual, I'm an online fan. Okay. If you are on the go, you can't log into your desktop from somewhere else. If you have an accountant who is working with you, it's easier for them to get into online because it's just another login. It's not to say that you can't get into desktop. There are ways around it. We can, but you have to usually have some other sort of virtual VPN type of sharing system, which would allow me to then, like, for example, log into your desktop and see your computer, which is a little, not everybody's comfortable with that. So, but yeah, the advantage of online versus desktop is, again, the remote accessibility and having it at your fingertips every single moment of the day. You can have an app on your phone that captures receipts, and you can do a quick screen of like what you're doing in your books that day. You can send out an invoice to a customer right from your phone. You can do all sorts of things. I don't think desktop has some of that functionality remotely like that. Most of the functionality of an accounting system and desktop is the same. It looks very different. I will tell you that if you transfer from one to the next, it does look different. So there's a different feel to it. But once you get used to it, I don't think it's usually a big deal for most people. Okay.
I'm going to ask my next question. So it's okay to just take a photocopy of a receipt from Staples and upload that to my, well, that's interesting. So I put, I'm just going to talk my example. I put everything on a credit card, right? I have a company credit card, Staples, UPS, all of those. Should I be saving the receipts? I mean, some of the stuff I do have receipts for, but do I need to save all the receipts for those as well for auditing purposes?
Yeah, so the bank statement doesn't tell you what you bought.
True.
Right?
Okay.
It just gives you an amount in a store. And
yes.
The receipt will tell you what you purchased. So if there's ever a question, if you made a large purchase somewhere and an auditor is going to question what is that purchase, you have the backup to say this is business related. It was, furniture for my office. It was whatever that large amount was. So the physical receipt will give you more detail. And when I say physical receipt, an image is fine. In our digital world, digital is fine. Okay. So that's why, again, the app, snap a picture, it literally feeds it directly into QuickBooks, and then you record the expense right from there. And it's the copy of the picture is stored with that transaction right in your system. Okay. And it goes for QuickBooks. Wave has the same thing. I know I'm working with Lynn on getting her set up on Wave. She can do the same thing on that. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm terrified to move to QuickBooks Online because I don't like how it looks, but I guess I need to get over that hurdle. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I have all these questions. So one of the things that I struggled with, I got QuickBooks, but I didn't set up my accounts the right way. Can you talk about, if you are a new business, you're Lynn, or you're someone that's creating a new business, how talk about setting up the accounts, the income, the expenses, the equity, because I was, funding my own money in the beginning of this a million years ago. Can you do you do that with clients? Do you help them get their QuickBooks set up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Even when you, as you may have discovered when you opened your signed up for your first QuickBooks account, it may ask you what kind of industry, general type of industry you are, so that it can start to customize your chart of accounts, as we call it, or chart of accounts that way. So like nonprofits are going to be different than a construction company, is going to be different than a retail company. You're going to have different types of accounts that you use. And you can even Google chart of accounts for consulting or something like that. And they'll give you like an Excel file or some examples of different accounts that you might use and set them up that way. But yeah, as a bookkeeper, that is something that I do. I do work through charts to organize them and pull in different accounts and things that I have found business owners tend to watch when they're working. So yeah.
Okay. And I think that was I have to be honest, that was a piece I missed in terms of, obviously income and expenses, but things like equity and things like that, it's owner's equity, right? And my business is very different from Allison's business. And so for me, it was very, it's just different. And I think one of the things I really found useful was using the QuickBooks Online community, right? You post something out there and those QuickBooks. So can you talk a little bit about that? Do you have someone that you work with, or you just had so much experience with QuickBooks you can answer those, or do you use the community online, which I think is an amazing resource?
So yeah, QuickBooks has a great blog. They have a lot of really strong articles, how-to articles, videos, all those kinds of resources. They're very, very good. I went through a training program with bookkeeping. So I also have a very strong community on Facebook that I'm a part of. So we bounce questions and ideas off of each other all the time. Particularly when it comes to a specific industry niche, there's like 8,000 people in the group that I'm in. So we cover all sorts of industries. So you're bound to find somebody who's probably encountered something similar to what you're questioning. But yeah, QuickBooks is definitely, I've been very impressed with a lot of their help features, their articles and blogs and things like that to get people going. Yeah.
Yeah, I am a member of the National Association of Professional Productivity Specialists and Professional Organizers. It does not roll off the tongue, but we have what's called a NAPO chat. And so if someone has a question about, I can't find this type of shoe organizer, or, how do I work with a client on this project? People just chime in, and you're right, Aileen, someone has done this, right? We always think what we're doing is so unique. No one's ever done this before, but the reality is that's been done hundreds of times. And so you are relying on that experience of an experienced group of professionals. And usually it's 3 or 4 or 5, 10, 12 people that chime in on the same. So I think that's a great resource. I don't work for Intuit, by the way, but I am a QuickBooks user. So one last question from me is that in this world of electronic payments like Zelle and Venmo, how to integrate those into your business. So most of my clients pay me through a check, right? Sometimes there's cash, but my accountant did not hear that. But how do you account for, I think electronic payments are a little bit trickier. How do you help your clients, especially someone like myself, account for like a Venmo? Because I don't have a business Venmo. Venmo is personal, and if a client wants to pay me through Venmo, can you talk a little bit about that? Are you seeing more of that?
I am seeing a lot more of that. I know that there are some systems that integrate directly with QuickBooks. You can hook up, you can connect your Zelle or your Venmo account to QuickBooks in some of them. Square is a big one. PayPal is another one that folks use. The trick with some of these, though, is that their feed when it comes into QuickBooks is usually the net payment, meaning if you charge somebody $100 and that customer pays you $100, but only $97 gets into your bank because there's a fee, right? So the feed that comes into your QuickBooks is only going to say $97. And that gets tricky. So you do still have to look at your account to figure out, okay, where did the 97 come from? You know, where's my $3? And you actually have to book these things separately in your account and in your QuickBooks, because the $100 is revenue to you. You did get a whole $100, but you also secondarily spent $3 to the merchant company, right? So give yourself full credit for that sale, but then you have to record the expense, like a credit card processing fee kind of expense. And I've noted, you know, one of my newer clients that I have, I've noticed that they haven't been doing that. And so we're kind of cleaning that up a little bit. And it's a new fee for some of them that they've never seen before. And I've got one, she's a veterinarian, she pays $4,000 a month in credit card fees.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, it's kind of a cost of doing business anymore because everybody pays electronically on credit card, you know, whatever it is. So shop around. My advice on that is also to kind of shop around if you're going to accept electronic payments, and make sure that, you know, you're getting something with a reasonable fee, because some do charge more than others. ACH is always the cheapest way because that's more of a direct pull from your bank account. It's like it's like using your debit card, and the credit cards are more expensive. So.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I actually know someone who does like credit card the payments, and he will go in and look at the cost of you doing business via credit card. But the reality is, in a retail setting, people spend 20% more if they can use a credit card, because people might go to you know, like a flea market or a fair or something like that, which tends to be more cash oriented, and people only spend so much. But if you pull out your Square reader, right, all of a sudden, you know, all bets are off, and it's literally 20% more. And I know that's the other part I think about one piece of advice that I always give to people who are starting out is act like a business from the beginning. Right. I have someone who, she had a little landscape business, and she kept going on Facebook, and she would say things like, oh, my client this, my client that. And I said, do you have a business? Like, do you have a business account? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, somebody's going to drop a dime on you to the IRS. You're collecting this money like you are a business. I said, but you are not recording that as revenue. I said, so A, stop that. I said, and B, just go to your town, get a business license, because in my town, all you need is a business license to get that bank account that you're talking about, right? Because people don't know that. Like, you can't just go into a bank and say, I want a business credit card or a business account in my name. You have to prove that you're a business. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is you go to in my town, you just need a license. I need a business license. And then you go do that. But act like a business from the beginning. And you don't have to be $1 million business. You can be a $5,000 business or a $50,000 business, but act like a business from the beginning. And I think those tips that you gave are excellent. So thank you. And I bet a lot of people are going, gee, I wish I'd started out that way. So thank you, Aileen. I feel like I've dominated the conversation. Anyone else have a comment or a question? Yeah, Allison.
Wondering, so for people who want to outsource their bookkeeping and have you come in and do their bookkeeping for them remotely, how does that process work?
So basically, you know, obviously I would prefer to have some sort of online accounting system, and they would just need to add me as an accountant user. Most of the QuickBooks subscriptions allow for 2 accountant users. So if you have a tax preparer, because I don't do taxes, just FYI. So you might have a tax preparer and a bookkeeper, and those are your two accountant users. If you run out of users, because then either we need to upgrade, or I can be added as a regular user, you know, if you already have two accountants, because their firm actually has two people in your books. So there's different ways of doing that. So, you know, we work through the access part of it. But in terms of the monthly work, you know, I need you know, there's things like bank statements and those sorts of things that I will need access to. So whether you get a paper bank statement still in your mail, which is quite fine, or I can get, many banks allow for third-party access to your bank account where I can see all the transactions. I can see copies of canceled checks if they provide that. I can get your bank statement directly out of the bank. If you don't have that, if it's a small bank and maybe they don't do that, I don't know that South Shore Bank is kind of difficult. I have a client with them. They're being a little, and their option. It has two-factor authentication, so it's very secure, and it will connect to those banks and fetch those documents right into that account for me to then go in and get. You can do it with banks. You can do it with your utility companies if you have recurring payments to like Verizon or Comcast or, you know, the gas company, whatever. Those sorts of things. Those accounts can be fetched. You can email documents into it. If we're sharing information, sometimes I will need a copy of your tax form, you know, last year's tax statement, just to get started and make sure that your books have a nice clean start to it. I often base that off of your tax form from the prior year. We can share all sorts of documents that way. You can load receipts into HubDoc. We can record things into QuickBooks from HubDoc. There's lots of different ways to record things in the world. It's a little confusing sometimes. You kind of pick your favorite way and stick with it and kind of go from there. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, and I think as we were talking about with what Lynn is doing, I think we are living in this virtual environment, and I think that is only going to continue, Aileen. So I think what you're doing in the virtual world, but I think again, it's bookkeeping should not be something that we do in the middle of December, getting ready to get this stuff ready at the end of the year. It really needs to be sort of an ongoing thing. And I think what I'm hearing you say is if you set it up the right way and are consistent, you know, with it, then it will work for you. So there's not this end of the year rush. And I do think it's an important point that you made. You do not do taxes. And I think people really misunderstand the difference between bookkeeping and taxes. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I'm sure that's a question that you get pretty consistently.
Yeah, so bookkeepers can do taxes. It's not to say that they can't. So there's a fine line between a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, all these different levels of financial terms. Bookkeepers are commonly I think of them as more of the day-to-day organizational, in your finances, in your books all the time, doing your stuff every day, looking at the finances very closely, very detail oriented. An accountant or a CPA, they can do bookkeeping. I'll be honest with you, most of them don't like it. Helen will probably say the same. I know Helen's not here tonight, but Helen Tang will say the same thing. She can do it. She's not a huge fan because she'd rather be doing your taxes. She's thinking about those tax laws, the bigger picture items that are really more strategic in nature. That's things that they really like to spend their time on. They rely on folks like bookkeepers to give them the details so that they can then take it and kind of run with it and make strategic decisions and plans for the company. So they're like a step up a little. I won't say that they're like better than everybody else, but that they're just on a different level in terms of what the functions that they do.
Well, and I think that's such an important distinction because we throw around these terms, and I think that it is to be clear. Sometimes it kind of stay in your lane sort of thing, right? And a good tax preparer or financial, or a CPA or accountant is only as good as the content that they're getting, right? So if you're doing a good job and your bookkeeper is doing a good job, then all I do is I export a P&L and I give it off to my tax preparer, and I'm like, here you go, right? But if it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? So it is so important, and what you do is so important in helping people just understand it. And again, not everyone is going to need a bookkeeper all the time, but just the value of getting, I spent hours like literally crying because I did not set it up right, and fixing it takes a lot longer and a lot more time and resources than setting it up. So it's so great to know that you are there to, to work with people to, to set it up for them so that they can do all of those things that most of these online systems are able to do, which is, feed. I loved what you said about, what was that term you used? Not the push and the pull, but the how you get all the content in, right? You can feed your bank accounts in, and you can, and all of your, other expenses can just be fed into it. And I think that is the beauty of it. I know some people with QuickBooks Online, like all cloud-based solutions, they're nervous about security, right? Having said that, this is the world that we live in, people. If you have one of those, I always say to people, if you have a transponder in your car, the government knows exactly what you're doing anyway. So it's kind of one of those things, but I think that is why people are a little reluctant about QuickBooks Online, is the fact that all of their financial information is in the cloud. But I know that it is a great product, and it does require that two-level authentication, which I think is huge as well.
It's strongly recommended to turn on that two-factor authentication with any option that you have, because they have options to turn it off. I don't recommend that. You should always have the second.
Yes, please. Even when you're sitting there waiting for your text to come in, you're like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Yes, exactly. Wow, that was awesome. Anyone else? A thought or a question? Hey, Lynn.
Yes, I just want to give a shout out to Aileen for meeting with me and helping me get on an even keel with regard to bookkeeping from the very beginning. So I do appreciate that so much, because relying on what I remembered from my high school business classes was not going to cut it. And she's really steered me straight, which is it's just so helpful. Thank you very much, Aileen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing about the whole receipt business. Lisa, you mentioned how with your tax preparer, you just give them a P&L and let them do their thing. And I just kind of want to emphasize that you as the business owner are ultimately responsible for everything. So, a lot of people say, if you, God forbid, happen to have to be picked for an audit, you really can't put all the blame on your tax preparer. It is really garbage in, garbage out. So if somebody comes knocking on your door one day and then wants to know some things, it is going to be ultimately your responsibility to be able to justify everything that you gave to your tax person or did yourself, if you're a do-it-yourselfer. So just kind of a little gentle reminder of that. So.
And I do think there are a lot of, again, the beauty of having QuickBooks Online is that app, right? That you can just take the picture, with QuickBooks, again, as a desktop user, take a picture, email it to myself, attach it to the file. Yes, there's some extra steps to that. Yes, I'm a dinosaur. My kids tell me that all the time. So anyone else, but I love what Lynn said, because if you start out with a clean slate, if you start out with, there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to fix, or it's easier to fix should something ever, get a little wonky somewhere down the road. So, wow. Yeah. Laura, how are you?
I am good. I just wanted to say, in my former life, I was a bookkeeper. That's how I started. And although it was mostly for nonprofits, I did a lot of bookkeeping for nonprofits. And like you, Lisa, I was when I found out about QuickBooks Online, it was like, yeah, no. I'll just do it on my desktop. That'll be fine. Because, but I've been out of it for so long. I mean, it was QuickBooks that I used mostly. But, and I was glad about today, because things have changed so much. Like Lynn said, what I learned isn't going to cut it anymore. And so it was good to hear about, the progress and the things that you can do now, and the things that you can get to help you. Because if I were to log into QuickBooks Online now, you know, I'm helping with the books now, because I have a basic understanding of QuickBooks, but I'm having to get up to speed because it's not the same QuickBooks I was using.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm glad to. So you may get a call from me.
Totally fine.
Like, how do you do this? What button do I press?
Yes, excellent. Thank you. And I think that is important, is that transition piece. And I think that's why I'm so reluctant to make a change. Change is hard. That's what I like to say to I say this to my clients all the time. Change is hard. So physician, heal thyself. So yes, everyone, please, if you have not put all of your contact information into the chat, Aileen, would it be possible for you to share that presentation with us?
Yeah.
Could you email that to me? If you email that to me, yeah, and then I will, I'll just share that with everyone. I will send a follow-up. It probably won't be till tomorrow, everyone. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to save the chat. I'm saving it right now. I hope everybody's put their information into it, because I forget to do that. I am saving the chat. I'm going to get this up onto YouTube, and I'm going to send a follow-up to this, Aileen, and I'd love to share that presentation, because I think it's, again, we don't know what we don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And it is so important just to start with that nice, clean, fresh slate, so that we can, you know, make this work a lot easier for everyone. So thank you, Aileen. Thank you so much. You were amazing. You were a rock star, and I so appreciate that. So again, everyone, I hope to see everyone at the quarterly breakfast, and we're doing a little raffle. Allison doesn't need it because she's a new, she has this new amazing computer. She can project her own screen, but we're giving away a green screen and a stand for anyone who enters or signs up. Anybody who shows up, we're going to do a little drawing, right? Which is kind of cool. For those of us who want to, you know, create some sort of virtual background for yourself, we're going to do that. So please do check that out. We do have a lunch and learn coming up. I'm going to do another lunch and learn in April. We're going to do a focus chat and we're going to do the breakout rooms again. We had a lot of success with that and a lot of good positive feedback. So we're looking forward to that. So thank you all for joining. I will go ahead and save this recording. Hope to see it up on YouTube soon. And I thank you. Thank you, Aileen, for such an amazing help presentation. We are so appreciative of it. Thank you so much. You did an amazing job. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And please do reach out. And if there's something you would like to see us doing more of, or, you know, in a different way, or another topic to cover, please do share that with us as well. And we will love to bring that to you. And hope we'll see everybody in soon together in person. We're hoping. So we're hoping for third quarter. That's our goal for sure.
I have a question. How many people have gotten their shots? Anybody get shot number one?
I got my first one today.
I got my first one yesterday.
Yay, good for you.
Yeah.
I went to the doctor today and told me where to go to get mine. So.
Good. Great. Excellent.
We're definitely seeing some movement, and I think that's positive, right? Light at the end of the tunnel, people. Daylight savings on Saturday. It's a brave new world, right? Brave new world. Yeah,
and those temperatures today, that was nice too. That was sweet.
Yeah, that's nice. All right. Thank you, everyone. Nice to see everyone.
Thanks so much.
Look for the follow-up. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.